Okay, happy Monday to you all. This is Drum Chat Hang. Today, my guest will be the new MAPEX Canada rep, Craig'toots'Toutant. It's going to be an exciting day. We're going to chat about a bunch of stuff with MAPEX, drums in general, and overall life. Ta-da! There he is. Welcome. Welcome.
Hey Jeff, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Things sound great.
Nice.
Perfect. Look great too. Look great.
Got me a Mapex shirt on.
Hell yeah. 30th anniversary. That was a big year for sure.
Straight from my dining room.
Right from we're coming live from your dining room. Do you have food in front of you? You eating? What's going on?
Got my hot cup of coffee.
Nice. I was just explaining to the people that I've got my elderberry tea.
Nice.
My orange juice because COVID ain't going to get me ever.
Sure.
Bulletproof. All right, so let's talk about a couple things real quick off the top. Welcome to the chat, and also welcome to MAPEX, man. This is great news. So, tell us a story about how you ended up where you're at. You can start at the beginning, or you can start near the end, wherever you want.
Well, as far as getting the spot that I've got right now with doing the Mapex thing.
Yeah.
Simply put, I've been in drum retail for about 17 years over working at various Long and McQuaid stores. So essentially built a lot of relationships and knowledge and experience doing that. And then Dave Lawrence, who is a good buddy of mine, back a long time, back to high school. But he was the drum and percussion product specialist at Yorkville and taking care of all things Mapex in Canada with artist relations and all that fun stuff. And he did a great job for nearly 10 years. I think he was doing that.
Yeah.
And decided to take on a new venture, doing some other things, and which is great. He's happy, and that's good for him. And yeah, when he left that spot, I just kind of fit the spot. It was a natural progression for me to hop over there. And so yeah, thankfully that all worked out. I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, Dave's great. I love Dave. I miss him in the role for sure, but I have a good feeling about you, man. I got a good feeling
Thanks.
about you.
I have a feeling about you too.
I think we're gonna have a lot of good times. We're gonna create a lot of chaos, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So hope you're ready for that.
The future looks bright.
Absolutely does. So playing around, like you're from Ontario, and so playing around, like what kind of music were you playing around Ontario, and still currently playing too, right?
Yeah. I'm still playing these days far less, but even throughout the pandemic, last summer I was playing a lot. There's a lot of outdoor stuff, a lot of private parties, backyard. But yeah, mostly, simply put, genre-wise, I'm a rock guy, but other genres as well here and there, but generally speaking, a rock guy. And so most weekends I'm out with my cover band, and we're called the Spitfire Kings, and it's a lot of fun. Just a talented bunch of guys, super nice guys. Zero drama in that band, zero. I love it. We just get along and we have that's what it's all about. And then I always have something going on original wise, like over the last 25 years now, I guess. Yeah. To surround myself with decent songwriting. I've been in bands that I enjoyed.
Your audio is cutting out. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh,
Maybe try turning, like, do you have it on earbuds, or do you have it on just like through the speaker in the phone?
just on speaker.
Turn the volume down on the speaker. It's probably what it's doing. It's probably choking out your mic.
How's that?
I think it's better. I guess we'll know when you start talking.
Better.
A little bit. It's a little bit better. I'll probably just ask a question and just let you talk, and then I don't think it'll cut you as much. So let's start off here. Favorite configuration? of
I'm
drum.
Ringo.
Ringo all the way.
One
Absolutely. One up, one down.
hats, rock, crash. I I have a third crash that's full of rivets, and I like that a lot. I just haven't been using that much for the last little while, but three crashes at the most. But yeah, pretty staple timekeeper kit.
Right on, right on. Do you find you're a pocket player or like a flash player?
No, definitely pocket.
Hell
I,
yeah.
I have a couple three tricks up my sleeve, and that's it. You usually see them by the three-quarters of the way through the first set, so that's that. Like as far as the flash, you might see a couple of tricks that I got, the little fiddleabouts, and look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. You know, I like those ones, and no, I'm not much for flash. I just kind of I think my style is I pretty much just count to four and start over.
And you know what? That's what pays the bills.
Bands like it that way. What can I say?
It's true. It's true, man. Keeping it simple, and like the saying says, keep it simple, stupid. Or
Exactly.
stupid simple, depending on who you ask. But it's true. Like at the end of the day, the job as a working drummer is to be on time, easy to deal with, and on time.
Yeah, exactly.
With that.
No, I found out early that really is what like the music that I like and the music that I want to play. All of those bands, that's like I kept hearing it. Like I wish I just need the drummer to just be there and keep the time and make a couple of tasty little things here and there, but don't step on anybody's toes. And yeah, so it's like, well, I can do that. Why waste my time figuring out all that fancy stuff if bands only just need a Ringo back there? And so it's funny enough. I guess maybe I'm lazy. I don't know, but yeah, I keep it simple.
It's lazy. I don't think it's lazy. I think it's a maturity thing in playing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Well,
think. I think it's a maturity thing.
and I grew up listening to that kind of music, like everything from you know like Frank Beard stuff. Like the first cassette I ever bought was ZZ Top Eliminator, and that's how I learned how to play drums. I just played along to ZZ Top, and and my buddy just recently said, "Well, no wonder you keep good time." Like I just I learned "Gimme All Your Lovin'" at age 7 and never changed.
And neither did they, and they didn't need to.
But and then I'm a big
ZZ Top. It's good enough for anybody, really. When you think about that, like that band is such a legendary band.
oh, I
So
love it. I
yeah,
love that stuff, and the band obviously. Levon Helm is a legend. I took a lot watching him. Took a lot from him, and he's got more swagger, that's for sure. Oh my god! But just the simple stuff. Jim Keltner is a big guy for me.
yeah.
Just that kind of stuff.
The cool old guys, man. Those
Yeah,
those are
pretty
those are the
much.
guys who get it.
Pretty much.
Absolutely. Jim Keltner and stuff like that. Those guys are. They don't have to prove shit to anybody. They already who they are, and you either like it or you don't, and they don't give a fuck.
And songs that they play on, forget about it. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. Pretty wild, man. It's pretty
Yeah.
wild. As many of our viewers would probably know, this week, sadly, would be NAMM. So, you've been to NAMM before, right? Have you been to
I
NAMM?
have not.
You have not.
This would have been my first NAMM.
Oh my God, are you in for an overwhelming 4 or 5 days of brutal hurting feet?
I've been warned. I've been told what I'm what I'm going to be put through by. I've had a few fellas enlighten me. I mean, I've had a good idea over the years. It's funny, all the years working in the stores. The sales reps would come in afterwards and show us all the new stuff that came out at NAMM and stuff, right? And it's just funny, like the after I think everybody always truly enjoys going, but people that have been there 15, 20, 25, 30 times, it's not nearly like, you know, so it's just funny. Some of the old vet ones, I'll be, oh, how was NAMM? And they're like, oh God. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. It's just, but no, I'm definitely looking forward to going to those types of places, especially NAMM, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this: the people that say they don't like going to NAMM are full of shit.
Yeah. How can you
Straight
not?
up. Exactly. How could you not?
Not be a musician. I mean, honestly.
It's the mecca of music. It's the mecca of gear. If you're in the industry and you don't like gear, then why the hell are you in the industry?
Yeah. No, it's true.
So yeah, I always think it's funny when I hear that. Like, oh, I've been like so many times. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? You just, if you're really having trouble with it, and I think what you got to do is you got to channel that first experience, that first moment that you walked through those doors and looked around and went, holy shit, there's so much gear here. How many days do I got to do this? Oh my God.
I've been told that you can't see it. Like if you wanted to see every single booth, it's not possible, basically.
Luckily, on the flip side of that, is there are a lot of booths you don't want to see.
Sure.
That are like absolutely pointless. But and luckily that's the case. Otherwise, you'd be like, get home and you're like, fuck, I never saw that. Oh my God. Instead, you're gonna see all your main ones, because there's gonna be the key ones you want to check out.
Oh, yeah.
And past that, you're gonna be distracted by, holy crap, that's like Gene Simmons, or oh my God, like where the hell are we? And then at night, now I've been going since 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't gone to every single one. I've skipped a couple here and there, but I've been collectively about 15, 16 times. So I have friends that I only see at NAMM.
Right.
That are like, it's like no time passes between seeing them. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's a huge thing that I'm looking forward to with this new gig, is the relationships that I'm going to form and maintain over the years to come. I'm very excited. I mean, you for that matter, like hitting it off, and this is a relationship that's obviously drummer brothers. You know, we'll be shooting the breeze forever. So yeah, the relationships that get founded, that's what I love most about the industry and about drumming in general. As cheesy as it sounds, there's a super fellowship involved, and it's special. You know, I dig it.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know, I had a conversation about this stuff with we had Todd Zuckerman come into the shop and do a clinic, and Todd and I, obviously, he's one of those guys that if you're a drummer, you're fast friends, super fast, and like it goes on and on and on with him. He told me, he said, you can literally be in an airport lobby anywhere in the world, and if you see a stick bag or a cymbal bag or a snare bag, you can go over to that person and talk to them.
Yeah.
Without any bullshit.
Legit.
Ever. I was like, I never thought about that, because you know that being in that position, if you're in that position, it's pretty rare until you've reached a certain level, like Todd has. But for him to say that, and for him to say that there isn't another industry or type of instrument that has that kind of camaraderie and solid like connection, that for a lack of better word, a solid connection.
Well, a perfect example of that is essentially the drum clinic. The concept of I just not long ago I said, you know, like bass players don't drive for miles and miles to go to a place to watch a bass player play bass by himself. I mean, it's pretty rare. Don't get me wrong. There are bass clinics.
Unless you're Stu Ham. People will drive to see Stu Ham.
Right? It just... No, drummers, I don't know. There's a fellowship there. It's awesome.
Fully. And the opposite of it would be guitar players. Like the judgmental revelry that guitar players have it's hilarious.
Don't look
Don't look at my pedals. Are you looking at my pedals? Yeah,
Yeah.
and the secret holy grail of shit, you know. But we don't have that. We were like, here it is. This is what we're doing. We're fucking doing it, you know.
Oh, it's like,
It's
oh my
different.
God, what you got there? Oh yeah, come over, check it out. Look at this, man. It's crazy. I don't.
Absolutely.
Our thing that might have been Eddie Van Halen. He was like super duper secret about his sound and his whole thing, right? So maybe that's why guitar players took that, took it that way. I don't know, but yeah, guitar players are not quite as willing to share, if you will. I find,
No. There was
drummers
this
always want to know what others playing and what do you got in the bag, the whole thing.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like there's no real secrets with drummers. They share, and I think that's another thing that's totally sets us apart from anything else in the world, it seems. On top of it being one of the oldest instruments in the world. So
Sure.
It's primal.
Drums.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even if they don't even realize it, or
Whether
they should or not.
Nobody says they wish they couldn't play.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding, eh? Nobody says they wish they couldn't play. That's the quote of the day right there, man. For sure. Nobody says they wish. Damn, that's a hard hitter, man. That's a hard hitter.
Everybody wishes they could play the drums.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Or yeah. Oh, I should have. I was gonna do that, and then I didn't, and then life took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that. Life does take over. That's a fact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Navigating it.
Bit by the bug, and it's game over. Like it happened for me young. I'm sure, like you too. It's you get bit by that bug, it's game over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hell of a bug to be bit by. I can't think of a better one to be bit by. So let's talk about your favorite. Let's get into your favorite line of MAPEX. Current, previous. We won't talk about upcoming stuff because we're not allowed to yet. But we'll talk about past and current.
Go back in time. Funny enough, this is an interesting thing. The very first drum kit that I ever bought with my own money, I had drum kits before that were gifts from my cousin and stuff, but I borrowed my cousin's drum kit that I started playing on. But the first drum kit that I ever bought with my own money was a MAPEX Mars, and that was in 1994. I ordered it. It was flash yellow with black hardware. So I wanted the bright yellow with the black hardware, and my guy at the Long McQuaid store that sold me was Gord Clement, and right away he was throwing striper joke stuff, right? The yellow and black kit. But I loved that kit. I ordered it, and so that was I believe they were basswood shells back then. Sounded great. It was like like a mid-range kit, and I used that for a few years. And that's technically I've been playing MAPEX since '94. Some years in between with other kits, but yeah, man, my MAPEX years go back that far. But my favorite is the Saturn. I just there's something about those drums with the new bearing edges, and they're just thunderous. They sound. That's how I like drums to sound. I like to tune them kind of medium and let them resonate and boom, and of course if you want to make them tighter and punchy, you know what I mean, you tune them up. They're very responsive whether you want to go high or low. But I'd say my favorite line is Saturn. Evolutions are awesome.
Yeah, I mean the weird thing about the Evolution that I don't think a lot of people have really dived into yet is that dampening piece on the orbital. Yeah.
Yeah, the Halo mount is what makes the Evolution kit. It's, for me, I think it's awesome, and it's essentially a trickle down from Design Lab. But yeah, in the studio, that little stuff like that comes in handy, just to be able to change the resonance of a tom right on the mount. It's really cool. And yeah, that's one thing for sure about Mapex is they're always on the cutting edge of innovation. Always are trying to innovate, and which is great. I like that with them. It proves that they're competing with all the others just fine.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree fully. Saturns, yeah, by far. Like those are my favorites. And the bigger the better. Like not many drums, but size.
Yeah.
The 24 by 20 kick drum on the old Subsonic series. Holy crap. That thing is amazing.
I haven't heard that in person, but goodness gracious.
I've had two of those kits over the course of time. The broken glass sparkle with black hardware, and the black cherry, and both of those kits were amazing. They sound so good.
Great. I had an Obsidian for a while. Awesome kit. Yeah.
That's an Obsidian right here. Yeah.
Fantastic drum.
Great kit. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very vintage kind of feel to it.
Yeah. And just, I mean, you can't go wrong. Maple shell. And those sizes are classic. Just love it.
Absolutely. I'm going to show you something. This is the only one that was ever made.
No way.
And it's a Mapex. It's a Mapex Orion Mappable 12 by 8.
Oh.
They never made another 12 by 8. This was the only one. It took a lot of convincing to get them to make it for me. But this was would have been my fourth Mapex kit during the middle of my endorsement era. So like about 3 years into the endorsement. So this one right here. So look at the figuring on it. Like it's crazy.
What year would that
be? This would have been 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010.
So 12 years for doing that exquisite work like that.
Yeah, like it's crazy. And
they've always amazing top of the line drums. They always have.
Always. Even like in the early days, like with the Mars and stuff like that. And there was another line too that they had that was like the Orion. Obviously, this is an Orion, so 100% maple Mappable.
Going back to the earliest of the Orion days, it was total wow factor, man. Seeing them in the pages of Modern Drummer, and just man, oh man, like yeah, they've had some top notch products for a long time. It's really
hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you had a chance to talk to Russ Miller yet?
No.
Like
I say, that the missing NAMM is obviously a major kick in the teeth, because I would have been able to been starting to found relationships like that. I've chatted with Mapex USA staff and the folks down there, and started relations with them, which is awesome. And the wheels are spinning, but it's still fresh. And obviously, because of COVID and no NAMM, it's putting a damper on those types of relationships. But yeah, like I said earlier, I'm really looking forward to meeting guys like Russ and anybody and everybody. Quite frankly, it's going to be great.
Russ is a heavy thinker on drums for sure. I mean, he came up with these ideas, and from his history at Yamaha, and being one of the guys that designed a lot of the like crazy Yamaha stuff back in the day. So
yeah,
interesting dude, definitely a thinker.
And he's involved in R&D of products that have come out and will continue to come out. And yeah, he's clearly putting his fingerprint on stuff, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing, right? There's, you see, unfortunately, because you're new, you never got to meet Joe Hibbs.
Oh man.
Haven't met Joe Hibbs, because he would have met him at NAMM. So
yeah,
Joe Hibbs was an absolute legend, man. The guy was a beast of a rep, and absolute kindest hearted gentleman I've ever met. Used to call me on Saturdays and check in. How's Canada doing, Jeff? You know, be like, we're out of the blue. It's a busy Saturday, but I got to make time. Sorry, I got to take this call. I cannot not do this. I got to take it. And it was always, you know, a couple of quick, you know, hey, what's going on? What are you up to? Oh yeah, good. Right. Okay. Well, have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. It would be like a short call, but it was always like,
he took the time.
Absolutely. You took the time, and that's so rare. That's so rare for a rep, and not just a rep, but a guy that's further up in the line like that. Oh, we got a comment about Joe Hibbs here. Joe Hibbs was the best. Absolutely. I love that. Yes, so do I.
Never heard his name, unfortunately, until the announcement of passing. And because again, I was just a guy working in the trenches on the floor of the stores and stuff, but looking into it and talking to people that did know him, it was like, wow, this guy was legitimately an industry legend, and holy crap, what a loss. Like it, you know, turns out everybody knew him and everybody loved him, and yeah, it's his loss is still ringing through to this day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Whenever it comes up on my memories on Facebook and all that stuff, because my memory sucks, I rely on that. It definitely hits hard. I was going to say something else too. It escaped me.
I'll tell you, as far as Joe is concerned, it certainly is not lost on me. And like, just as a new MAPEX rep, knowing what he did for the brand and how much he helped out in general, like, man, if I had, you know, in my show, that'll help me out any amount, anything that could have feed off that from that guy. Cause like you said, I just keep hearing so much stuff about him. So yeah, if I could, hopefully some of his goodness can rub off on me.
Absolutely. For those people that don't know Joe, he was originally one of the artist relations guys for Tama. And of course, the biggest drummer for Tama would have been Lars. And that's who found Lars.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. That's a heavy-handed point right there. Yeah. And like everybody who was in rock knows him. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We keep getting this thing keeps cutting.
I'm a Lars defender, by the way.
Good. I think he's got a lot on his shoulders, man. I think a lot of people give him a hard time, but you know what? Fuck him, because the guy started something from nothing and has created what he is.
It's for me. It's very simple. He is a founding member of Metallica. Like, is that not enough? Seriously, come on.
Oh, I know.
On a Ringo, he was a Beatle. Come on, like whatever.
No, when you think about Ringo, okay, let's get into the Ringo talk. This is another reminds me of a conversation to have with Todd Zuckerman again.
Nice.
Because he's absolute huge Ringo fan.
I like his take on it, actually.
Oh, fully, yeah. Like it's like 30. He goes, okay, how many songs have you done? 32 perfect drum lines too. You know, like you can't compare that. Like that's unheard of and inhuman.
Yeah, like that's basically it. Like when Todd said that, that's what really struck. It's like the guy recorded pretty much perfect drum parts for a few hundred tunes over they only made records for 6 years. Those guys only made records maybe 7. That's what blows my mind. It blows my mind that the Beatles did all that in 6-7 years. So yeah. Was his drumming simple? Yeah. Was it perfect? Yeah.
Well, just what was needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Same
with Charlie Watts is similar, you know.
Sure.
So what was needed. Like why you don't need anything extra, you know?
And you hear the word come up a lot, obviously, feel. Like those guys played with feel, and what that really means is just that's the stuff that makes the other musicians only want to play with you. You know, like there's a reason why Keith Richards only wanted to ever play with Charlie, and the only other drummer he really likes at all is Steve Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because they just have that similar groove and that just laying it down swagger back there that can be relied on, you know, and
Yeah.
just it's that feel, you know, that je ne sais quoi. Like you can't teach it really. You can't specifically learn it on purpose. It just happens or it doesn't, you know, that. And those guys had that, like, clearly.
Fully. The other thing that comes up in conversation about this kind of stuff is creating your own distinguishable sound in your playing. You know how you can hear a record and go, yeah, it's John Bonham, that kind of thing. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that only really happens for a lucky few, you know, and I think it, you know,
Last ones.
I don't know, like it's tough. It's harder on drums. With guitar, it's easier. Like Carlos Santana could pick up a yard sale junker and go wah and sustain a note, and you would know it was him. So it's hard to see. Like if John Bonham was still alive today, he could probably be behind any drum and you would know it was him. And there's not many guys, not many drummers there, I think, that you can do. Pretty tough.
Yeah, totally. Well,
I
that's
don't
just it, right. Like it's such a, not everybody gets to that point, but when they do, it's like I think it's your ultimate. It's almost like a zen or an enlightenment type thing, you know, when you get to that point where your playing is distinguishable on a record without seeing who's playing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know for sure. I think any drummer, like guys like us that have been doing it a long time, I don't know about you, but for me, I did notice my playing just naturally got refined as I got older. Like it wasn't anything I chose to do it wasn't anything that happened on purpose. It's just like, wow, like, you know, these sticks last me longer. And, you know, wow, I haven't cracked a cymbal in like 4 years. And this snare drum head has been on this snare for a long time. And whereas younger days, I'd be going through sticks and going through cymbals and going through heads. So, and then funny enough, though, the sound of my kit is just as loud and as thunderous as ever when I was, you know, essentially punishing my drum kit. As I got older, I just you learn how to get more sound out of it with less effort, I guess. And your playing just naturally refines over time. And
Yeah.
if you are going to achieve a signature sound, I would think that's a possible way of going at it. But again, some of those greats like Bonham and I don't know, even say like a Steve Gadd, you can kind of tell it's him. Jeff Porcaro with his ghost notes, those guys had that at a pretty young age, nevertheless. So, but those guys are stratospheric superstars in the game. So what do you figure, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Flashes in the night. Flashes in the night.
Those are the ones that we're lucky to be around and get to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a very true fact. Favorite size of cymbals. Do you like big cymbals with that setup?
Yeah. Crash cymbals, I think I don't know. I have a 17 and an 18, and I'm thinking about maybe trying a 16, but even like to me, even a 16 just sounds like a big splash.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I like bigger crashes generally. And then so yeah, like I have a 17 inch is my first crash and 18 is my second 20-inch ride. And I fell in love with 15-inch hi-hats a while back. It's been a while now, like a solid over more than 10 years ago, I discovered 15s and how much I love them.
Yeah, I've never played 15-inch hi-hats. I've only used 14s, usually older, like vintage, either Zildjian or
Yeah,
K Darks, that kind of thing.
for sure.
My go-to for a ride is like bigger, like 24s.
Nice. Yeah.
Like usually with a nice defined bell. So like This one here is just like the double A bash ride. I really
Oh
like that ride because it has so much power.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's actually I don't like 24s because personally I find them not so versatile. But that bash ride is actually a very versatile cymbal.
It's crazy. You can get so much out of it, and it's thin enough on the edges so that it doesn't sound too pangy. You know, when you get a really heavy ride, and it's just like you can't
Well,
get any wash.
it's still somewhat crashable. It
Oh,
doesn't
big time, yeah.
doesn't sound like long. When
Yeah,
you stay into it, the which is important for me. I like a ride that's still crashable.
yeah, totally, totally. I like bigger crashes too, like 20s and 18s, that kind of thing. 19s. Those are my jam too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. We're very similar as far as our setup goes.
our kits
Our
are
mind tastes in drums.
totally, man. No, I noticed that when I was checking out your profile and looking at your photos and stuff, and it's like, wow, yeah, it's I could sit right behind your kit, no problem.
Yeah, totally, totally. That's always another thing that drummers are always kind of drawn to people with the same setups and stuff like that. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, I like what you got going on here. Yeah. Uh, Tell us about your favorite gigging experience.
Oh, like nah. I mean, just I love gigging in general. Um, I just I love being a part of a musical moment when and especially when it's a show and there are people in front of the band responding. It doesn't you've heard it before. It doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 10,000 or whatever. Um, when you're when I'm when the notes of the song are ringing out and you look over at your bass player and you lock eyes and go, yeah, like nailed it, and the people are loving it and they're responding, having a blast, whatever. That's to me, that's what it's all about. I'm a live. I like playing live, but and then as far as like, as far as just to be honest, some of the most memorable shows for me were the smaller things that were just more sentimental.
Oh
Like
yeah, fully.
playing in front of large amounts of people is obviously awesome, but there's been some super sentimental moments, like selling out the Cameron House. We sold out the back room of the Cameron. At the past 40 or something, right? But people were lined up out Queen Street. So it's just like that was a cool night. You know what I mean? Like it was funny. So yeah, just stuff like bands that I've been a part of, guys that I got really tight with. Those are the memorables. The van tours. I love that type of stuff, the camaraderie of being in bands and being in the middle of a musical moment with guys you love and respect.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like, yeah, I I tried to explain it to somebody who wasn't hadn't experienced that kind of stuff before or wasn't a musician. And I said the only way to describe it is it's like your best buds, you get in a vehicle and it's like not a fucking thing can go wrong.
Of
But everything will go wrong at the same time.
course,
You know, you feel invincible.
no, you do, man. Um, pulling into a town, into a city, and setting up your gear and rocking out and packing up and having some fun and going to sleep and waking up in the next morning and going to the next town to do it again is the coolest thing. I really enjoyed that, and it's tour life, whether it's in a van or a bus or a plane. It is what it is. You get to, and being able to do that is, I'm grateful for it for sure. Cause there's a small percentage of the population that knows what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's,
And you can't explain it to them. It doesn't make
no,
sense.
yeah,
I
I'm
tell them.
pretty blessed that way that I got to experience that kind of stuff for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story about playing in Jasper one time. We were doing a corporate gig. This is when I was in a band called the Frontiers, and we were up in Jasper, and we got paid a crazy amount of money because it was a corporate gig. hired by the Malls of America to do this corporate getaway in Canada.
Nice.
And they put us up at this hotel. We finished playing the gig, which was kind of not really anything remarkable, other than the fact that they wanted their CEO to get up and do that stupid cowbell skit with us.
Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the corporate gig, all right.
So it was, that part was awful, and the food was really good, so that made up for it, and the scotch was really good, and all the booze that they gave us. Then they put us up in a hotel, and we didn't know where we were, and we're driving in the woods. We're like, where the hell are we going? We're following GPS to this hotel. We get there and go into town, have some drinks, come back. It's pitch black. Can't see anything. We're in the middle of the woods in Jasper. And I shit you not, the next morning, I opened the door, and I was like, holy fuck. Have you ever seen the postcard picture of Jasper?
No, but a postcard picture of Banff. And
it's like that.
Probably pretty similar, I would think.
in the postcard picture, there's a boat marina thing and a couple of boats, and then there's the water, and it's like a green water, like really beautiful crystal water and mountains. And I literally opened the door, and that was like, if my eyes were a camera, it was a fucking picture. And I was like, holy shit. And it was funny. 2 doors down, somebody had just come out, and he goes, oh, I know, isn't it beautiful? And I'm like, we came here in the dark.
Yeah.
I had no idea where we were staying, and because they put us up.
Paradise.
Yeah. And I think they were trying to do that as a flex too, because these guys were like high rollers. And he goes, oh, we're gonna show those guys a good time.
Nice.
Where's that postcard place? Let's send them to the postcard place. Those memories are gold for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, being in Ontario, touring is a lot different than out west, where you have to drive for fucking 14 hours to get anywhere half decent, or worth the trip. Out in Ontario, obviously a lot easier. So how would you say, like, have you toured out west before?
Very limited amount out west. I have, lucky to say, I've been out there and back, but not much. Just the major cities, obviously, like the Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver.
The main spots. Yeah. I
haven't done the extensive, try to hit every place on the way out there. Like, my buddies, like, I hear about places like the Twin Butte General Store.
Yes.
I've never, haven't dove that deep, but no, in the East here in Ontario, I guess you could say we're a bit lucky. Like from Windsor to Montreal is about around 10 hours drive, and there's a lot between Windsor and Montreal. So yeah, you can do okay along the 401 corridor.
Absolutely.
And if you want to go east, you can go out to Halifax, and basically, if Halifax from where I am, Halifax is halfway to St. John's, Newfoundland, and between Halifax and St. John's, there's basically nothing. So I've never been to Newfoundland, and that's the province that I've always wanted to see the most, and it's the only one I haven't seen. But because it just doesn't make sense to go that far east unless you've got something legitimate waiting for you there, other than a province full of amazing people. But hopefully they know about your band and want to pay to see you play. But other than that, it's a tough go to go out to Newfoundland. But every band I've ever met that ever went out there said it's a blast. So
I heard that.
It's funny, when I got this gig, the first thing I said to my boss was, nice, I'm finally going to get to go to Newfoundland. And he goes, what? And I'm like, well, I'll be visiting the dealers out there one way sooner or later. And he said, oh yeah. And I'm like, well, there you go. I'm going to get to go to Newfoundland. So yeah, looking forward to that, man. I'm really, like I said, it's the only province I've never seen, so I can't wait.
I've never been to Newfoundland, but Bad Habits Die Hard, my punk rock band, our guitar player Mike Party is from Newfoundland.
Nice.
and there was a TV show that they shot there. That was like a bad cop TV show, Canadian made CBC thing. I can't
Okay.
remember what the damn thing was called. Uh, but he had a friend who like had the bar that they were using for the one of the scenes,
Yeah.
and his friend reached out and said, "Hey, send me all of your gig posters." And he put it up all like everywhere you turn in the damn shot is there's a
Nice.
picture of us.
Yeah.
I've never been to Newfoundland as a
Yeah.
band, but
That's
he was just trying to help out a buddy from
yeah.
Newfoundland who
Yeah.
plays music. So yeah, I've never been there, but I've been there in spirit.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, your band there, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. It's a. I mean, that's my essence. So I mean, if my music makes it there, then it's like I've been there. I like that. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
But yeah, the touring thing, like I say, it was mostly growing up in all those years. It was mostly Ontario. Generally speaking, was Ontario, and like I say, pretty much the Windsor, the 401 corridor, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's just yeah, I wouldn't trade any of those days for anything. Just so much fun playing so many shows, meeting other bands. One time, my old band was playing a show at the Rivoli in Toronto, and another band on the bill was from Ottawa. And they said, "Oh, we know this band from Ottawa, and you guys would get along real well." And so they gave us their contact, and we just cold contacted these guys. We're like, "Yeah, apparently you guys are cool, and so do you want to go?" And like, and we became great friends for probably a solid 5 years there. We just constantly traded shows with each other between Ottawa and Toronto, and just built relationships that have lasted to this day. And that was back in the late 90s and early 2000s. So it's just funny how that works out. And just again, it kind of like the drumming fellowship, the touring band fellowship. You know, you meet some of the bands you meet on the road are you don't make friends with, but a lot of them you do. And yeah, it's cool. I don't know. It's hard to say these days what's going on. Not a lot, but I have a good feeling. I'm feeling positive for the future. I think there's going to be an influx of bands and venues, and the music scene will bounce back.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I definitely think so. It's funny that you bring up the cold calling, because I had a situation like that in the 90s too, where it was a friend in Edmonton who anybody that was going to Edmonton, I'm like, hey, call this band and put them on the bill because they're from Edmonton. They draw really well. And that band was called Fat Bastard. And the bass player from that band is Tom McDonald from Headley.
Oh, okay.
Going way back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back, it's like early 90s. Or sorry, late 90s. Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a small world. Everybody supports each other. For
Oh,
sure.
no doubt. Well, that's just it. Like I always jokingly reference that Sum 41 lyric. What do you expect from a country so small? And obviously, you know, we got more land than anybody, but our population is pretty minuscule. So, you know, it's just that running kind of that old sort of joke. Everybody knows everybody, and so yeah, like it's a pretty tight knit scene because it doesn't take too much to, like, the 6 degrees of separation doesn't go too far. Like your chances are you're connected to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes beyond beyond the borders here too. Like if you're a Canadian and you're, say, in the States, and you run into a band that would normally play a large show in Canada,
Right.
playing a bar show in, I don't know, somewhere in the States,
Yeah.
You can talk to them, and they'll actually, they're approachable at that point. Whereas at the big concert, they're probably not so much.
Yeah.
You know,
No doubt.
that's tragically hip kind of vibe there.
That they did that for years. You know, it's funny though. They were bigger in the States than the general gist. Like a lot of people think, oh, they were too bad they were never big in the States, but like they would sell out 1,000-seat theaters, like in the South, and almost anywhere they went, they did quite well actually, but certainly not like here. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Summer, another roadside attraction tour is like 50,000 people strong. And so, yeah, they, in comparison, certainly did not do as well in the States, but, that'd be weird. I don't know. Playing in front of, like, selling out hockey rinks up here and then playing in front of 200 people a night elsewhere. That'd be interesting.
I think it would be exciting because then it's like you're going back to that
Sure.
sweatshop roots, you know, back in the
Still,
van
we're
kind
still
of.
a part of it, quite frankly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be it, I think it would be kind of a blessing in a way because then it gets you back into that roots idea and back to thinking about where you started, and you know, keep you in touch with it.
I always said that playing, it's not that I don't would turn down playing large stages, but it's like when you're on a big stage and you're literally 20 feet, 30 feet away from each of your bandmates, it's different than when you're on a club stage sweating on each other. So it's hard to say which one you like more. Funny enough.
Yeah, exactly. Two different beasts for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's see. What can we talk about here? We got some more. Let's talk about snare drums. Seeing as there is a very large amount of Mapex snare drums that came out 2 years ago that are still very much present. So what one is your, let's do top three. Top three.
Top three. Poof. I mean, I don't know. I think I like in no particular order. I'd have to say Atomizer, Persuader, and it's hard to say only three. I mean, for me, the Heritage is such a quintessential maple shell snare. But the unheralded little engine that could of the gang is the Photon, I believe, the 13x7.
Oh yeah.
Or no,
yeah.
sorry, it's the Hydra.
Hydra, yeah.
That's a cool snare, man. That's a really neat drum. It makes me consider, like, it's like you don't think you'd like a 13-inch snare, maybe till you play this one. You know, it's that kind of. I'm not a big 13 guy, and but that's a cool drum. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can't go wrong with the Persuader. I'm a brass guy, generally speaking, for sure, and I've learned to like aluminum. I like the dryness of it.
Yeah,
Atomizer for sure. And then that Heritage is like for a wood shell drum, for a maple shell snare. That Heritage is. I like generally speaking, I like thin shells. So the Heritage, I believe it's like a 5.8 mil or something. It's less than 6 millimeters thick, and I like that drum. How about you?
I like the Atomizer a lot. The copper, I can't remember the name of the copper one. What's the name of the copper one? That's
hard to memorize them all.
Oh yes, and they're not related to what it is. That was the one thing that I remember telling David at NAMM that year. I was like, man, how the hell am I supposed to remember any of this shit?
Totally.
he's like, just go for it. Just try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I personally love aluminum too. Like the dryness, but still a lot of crack and a lot of body to it too. It seems to have more body than it has ring.
Yeah.
And again, that's the first time they've ever done an aluminum snare for Mapex. So that was like a big thing. I did a video for Mapex Canada from NAMM on that snare drum in particular. And we also talked about the copper. Same thing. That's the first copper snare that Mapex has ever done. So those two things alone are pretty amazing.
Well, they again, they're always coming up with new stuff and trying to try this and try that. And the Ralph Peterson is the first wood hoop drum that they've put out.
Yeah.
Obviously, his they did that together, obviously, with Ralph. It's kind of, I'm assuming Ralph was an Elvin Jones guy. because that drum is, to me, it's pretty darn close to an Elvin. Elvin's was a 14x8 deep, and Ralph's is a 7. But other than that, it's very similar. It's maple shell, wood hoop. I think he was kind of going for the Elvin thing there. That's just me. But that Ralph Peterson is a special drum. Lucky whoever got their hands on those, because there's not many of them.
Yeah, they were a super limited run, hey? There was a snare drum back in the early 2000s, because I sold Mapex from 2001 to 2014, and there was a run of Mapex drums that almost got them in trouble because they were made out of redwood, as in California redwood. They made a grand total of, I think, 10.
Oh wow!
That before it got about it,
Yeah,
everybody got uppity about it. It was a deadfall harvest redwood, so super hard.
wow.
Super hard, and they were painted like an emerald green.
Ooh,
so they were like, yeah, clear coat emerald stain on this redwood. I've never actually seen one in person, and I've been watching.
Call it.
What's that?
What was it called?
It didn't have a name. It was just a Black Panther redwood snare.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the beginning of Black Panther. Yeah. I've been trying to keep an eye out for that, because I know that they're going to be popping up at some point, maybe in a will or something like that. They're one of those drums that would pop up in a will for sure.
Well, the sledgehammers are officially collectible.
Yeah. Well, those were crazy.
Those drum. Yeah, that's a great snare, and it's cool. It's just cool to see Mapex pieces like legitimately sought after in the collector market. It's like, nice. That's a good sign,
Yeah, absolutely. There's also another one that really I wish that they would bring back, and that's the 14x6.5 phosphorus bronze hand hammered.
Yes,
that drum was amazing.
I remember that.
Yeah,
their snare drums are awesome. They're just awesome. Yeah.
Cam Fleury got one of those recently. One of our Mapex guys out in Ontario. Yeah. He was like, what should I get? And I told him, like, dude, if you can find a phosphorus bronze 6.5 like hammered, fucking buy it.
No doubt.
He found one, so he grabbed it right away.
Does that one have die cast?
I don't think it does. I think it had triple flange black chrome hardware.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. But die cast on that would you would lose fillings. You would lose fillings. It'd be a mount you feel in the back of your head for a week.
No doubt.
Absolutely. The other one that I really like that I have on this kit is the Fat Cat, the original Fat Cat.
Yeah.
So I guess that would have been like mid 2000s, 2005, 2004, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
14x8 maple walnut, and then it used to come with triple flange hoops and chrome.
Yeah.
And I pimped it out to the black chrome and the die cast black chrome. And that snare is amazing for my clinic stuff. That's one of the go-to ones that I go for. Yeah.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I back in March of 2020, at the beginning of all this crazy stuff, I actually was in the middle of I had arrived in Toronto, and Dave and I were about to do 6 days all the way to Montreal, ending in Montreal on his birthday.
Oh man.
But we flew, and like by the time I left, I even called him. I'm like, hey, are we still doing this? Should I be getting on this plane or what? And he's like, yeah, go for it. We're going to do this. We can do this. We're bulletproof. We can do this. And I'm like, okay. And by the time I flew and got there, that's when Trudeau went on TV and said, well, we got a problem here. We're going to lock down everything. And literally, like, Ontario was locked down that night.
So
like,
wow.
that beginning. Yeah, and it was so. It was like we ended up changing the plan to be okay. Well, we can't do the tour, so you're already here. We're gonna do three. We'll do like 2 days of videos at HQ and bang out a bunch of product videos and what you need to do videos, which
Right.
were the things that they were working on back then.
Sure.
And of course that got pulled too because now you had to work for the company to be in the building, and so got back on the plane and flew home.
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's,
it was depressing.
Yeah, friends of mine got out of Peru at literally the last hour. That was, I mean, I remember my St. Patrick's gig got canceled, and that was, okay, there's no St. Patty's gig. All right, this is real.
Yeah, that's a the what is it, the canary in the coal mine when you lose your St. Patty's gig.
Yeah,
for sure.
like, all right, this is legit.
Crazy. Well, we've reached the hour here, so we would call her right around here. I just wanted to have you on here and welcome you. You know, it's a big change, but I have faith that you're going to do a great job, and already you've proven so.
Cool, man.
So
Cool, man.
welcome to the team, and we're excited. We're excited to have you on.
Thanks very much for having me, and I'm definitely happy to be part of the family. Definitely looking forward to the years ahead for sure, man. We'll be
we're
meeting
gonna have a lot of fun
for sure. We'll have to reschedule that clinic tour.
Yes, that's what we got to do once we figure out what the hell's going on with this stupid world.
You better believe.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for coming on, and thanks for everybody who's watching. And
Awesome.
I'll see you soon.
Peace. See you guys.